On August 15, 1977, a radio telescope in Ohio picked up a signal so strange, so powerful, that the astronomer monitoring it grabbed a red pen and scrawled one word in the margin: "Wow." That signal lasted just 72 seconds. It has never repeated. It has never been explained. And in 2026, one of the biggest rock bands on Earth decided to name an entire album after it. The signal came from the direction of Sagittarius, picked up by Ohio State's Big Ear Telescope, an instrument built specifically to scan the skies for alien transmissions. It matched almost exactly what scientists expected true extraterrestrial contact might look like. Astronomers have pointed radio dishes at that same patch of sky for nearly 50 years since, hoping to catch it again. Nothing. Not one repeat. Not one confirmed natural explanation. Nothing but silence and a single scribbled word on a printout. Nearly half a century later, in 2026, English rock band Muse released their 10th studio album and named it after that exact mystery. The Wow Signal. Produced by Muse alongside Dan Lancaster and Alex Von Korff, it dropped on June 26 through Warner Records and Helium 3. It's been described by critics as alternative rock, space rock, progressive rock, art rock, and hard rock, mixed with dance, electronic, and piano balladry. But this wasn't just a clever title borrowed from astronomy. The band was hiding a far more personal signal inside it. In mid-2025, bandleader Matt Bellamy split from his wife, model Elle Evans. The fallout was severe enough that Bellamy canceled Muse shows scheduled for February 2026 across South Africa, India, and the United Arab Emirates, choosing instead to prioritize his children. He wrote most of the album in late 2025, in his words, "In the depths of this life-changing experience." What emerged wasn't a breakup album in the usual sense. It became something stranger, cosmic, almost desperate for meaning. Bellamy has called the Wow Signal possibly the easiest Muse album he's ever made. "It would just pour out of me," he said. "It was such a catharsis. It became a lifeline for me." For a band famous for meticulous, self-produced concept records, that ease was itself unusual, a signal of sorts that something had fundamentally changed in how Muse worked. After self-producing several albums, Bellamy decided to, in his words, let go of the reins a little bit. 8 tracks were handed to producer Dan Lancaster, a touring member of Muse since 2022, with 2 produced by Alex Von Korff. Bellamy credited Coldplay's Chris Martin for encouraging him to collaborate more. He admitted the band members were control freaks who initially resisted being told what to do, until Lancaster pushed them towards something fresher and more modern. One unplanned moment became the album's biggest surprise. Singer Ellie Goulding happened to be working in the same studio as Muse, and the band invited her to add vocals to a track called Hush. "We just turned it into a duet at that point," Bellamy said. "She sang it in a couple of takes, and an hour and a half later we had the song." It marked the first time in Muse's career a guest vocalist appeared on one of their records. Here's where the real signal hidden inside the album reveals itself. The Wow Signal is a concept record built around cosmic mystery and the possibility of contact with something far greater than ourselves. But that alien search doubles as a metaphor for Bellamy's own life, his divorce, and separately, his obsession with artificial intelligence. 2 entirely different kinds of contact with the unknown, folded into one record. Structurally, the album tracks Bellamy through the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, as he rebuilds emotional stability as a newly single father. It's a framework borrowed from psychology, mapped onto science fiction, mapped onto a real 1977 radio signal that nobody has ever explained. The layering is deliberate. It's a structure that turns a single breakup into something almost archaeological, layer after layer, waiting to be excavated. The AI thread runs just as deep. Bellamy has said he believes artificial intelligence actually hurts creativity, particularly in rock songwriting, and yet he's convinced it will eventually explain something to us that we don't understand yet. It's the same posture humans have held toward the wow signal for decades, half afraid of what we don't understand, half desperate for it to finally speak back. The opening track, The Dark Forest, takes its name from one of the eeriest ideas in modern astrophysics, the dark forest hypothesis, a proposed answer to the Fermi paradox suggesting advanced civilizations deliberately stay silent and hidden from one another to avoid annihilation. In other words, maybe the universe isn't empty. Maybe everyone's just too terrified to speak first. Described as a rock opera, the song opens with synthesizers and an actual clip of the real wow signal, before shifting into Latin choir and orchestral parts recorded with the London Metropolitan Orchestra. Bellamy's own son, Bingham, plays percussion on the track. Around the 3-minute 20 mark, it explodes into hard rock, chugging riffs and a guitar solo, evoking film scores from Dune to Lawrence of Arabia. Not every track stays in existential dread. Night Shift Superstar is disco and funk, pulling from ABBA and French house acts like Justice and Daft Punk, echoing older Muse songs like Supermassive Black Hole. Bellamy's daughter, Lovella, even sings in its children's choir. But the title is bittersweet. It's a tribute to the early years of his relationship with Evans, whom he once described as a real party girl. Critics have called the wow signal a genuine return to form, drawing comparisons to Muse's early 2000s run, Origin of Symmetry, Absolution, Black Holes, and Revelations. AllMusic's Neil Z. Young said it feels less like a paint-by-numbers parody of Muse and more like a band extracting the best elements of their DNA and creating something entirely new. High praise, but not the only read on the record. Other critics zeroed in on just how much this album refuses to sit still. Rolling Stone heard Queen, Korn, and Radiohead colliding with 70s arena theatrics and 80s synth rock. The Irish Times called it a glam odyssey that fuses metal, techno, science fiction, and prog rock. Alexis Petridis at The Guardian simply noted it was less bombastic than Muse's recent work, a quieter kind of strange. Then Muse did something that mirrors the entire concept of the album in the strangest way possible. To promote the announcement, the band partnered with aerospace company Sent into Space and launched a tablet 33 kilometers above the Earth's surface, deep into the stratosphere. It was a small, almost absurd gesture, but symbolically, it captured exactly what a wow signal and this album are all about: reaching upward and waiting to see what comes back. Alongside the singles, Unraveling, Be With You, Cryogen, Hexagons, and Night Shift Superstar, Muse launched a full world tour to bring the record to life. A North American tour began in July, followed by a European arena tour in November. For a band built on stadium-sized spectacle, this was their chance to stage a genuine cosmic mystery live, every single night. Here's the strange part nobody can fully answer on either side of this story. Nearly 50 years of searching has never explained what hit that Ohio telescope in 1977. And whether the wow signal genuinely healed Matt Bellamy or just gave a devastating year somewhere to go is something only he really knows. Maybe some signals, cosmic or personal, were never meant to be fully decoded. So which mystery pulls you in more? The one from space or the one hidden inside the album? Let us know below.